What's up, guys? How are you? Another edition of Suck It Podcast is upon us. More music to talk about. Another local DMV band. I love talking to local guys. That means I can eventually hook up with them and talk face to face and not have to worry about traveling. That's always fun. So you know what? Let's have some fun here and let's get to talking. So let's start the 20th, excuse me, the May 20th episode of Suck It Podcast. Here we go.
System in place to keep us in chains. By show of hands, who else is sick and tired of the same? 1% trying to keep us small, trying to keep us from getting out. Minimizing the struggles they've caused, saying we're not working hard enough.
We really should stop this fighting. Otherwise, we'll miss the fireworks.
There won't be any fireworks.
And here we go.
And welcome everybody to Suck It. I am the great and powerful King of Kings, Prince of all that is awesome, Derek. How the fuck are you doing today on this Thursday, May 20th of the year that is 2021? The weekend's almost upon us again. Tomorrow is Friday. Today is Friday Eve. I hope that you've enjoyed the week that I have presented to you. Three wonderful bands, coming from Northern Virginia, coming from Boston, Massachusetts, coming from North Carolina. A little bit of the East Coast flavor this week. A little bit different from our normal West Coast flavor because I'll get a lot of punk bands here. But you know what? Getting to highlight a little bit of the East Coast punk this week, so I've been kind of happy with that. Including today's band, which hails again from Northern Virginia, like I said earlier. Again, love local guys. Gives me an opportunity to really connect with the music scene here. And they are no different. Based, again, like I said, out of Northern Virginia. Just came out with an LP not too long ago. And then last week, they released a new EP featuring 5 cover songs of some of the greatest, punk songs of today, or yesteryear, I should say, covering songs by Black Flag and Poison Ivy and Bad Religion, among others. So it's a great freaking listen. I listened to it a couple different times. It's pretty fucking badass. So let's get right to it and talk with the Northern Virginia band, American Television. Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, what's up, Derek? How's it going, man?
You know what? I couldn't be better. Things are going well. Like we were talking about in our little pre-conversation, music starting to come live again, and we've had looks like some good success with that. I mean, we got the fest coming up. We've got Blue Ridge Fest and all these different things. Welcome to Rockville coming up, and all these other tours, individually by bands coming out, and just like, okay, I think we might be starting to see some signs of light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely. Yeah, I saw Rise Against was announced that's coming through the area in a couple weeks, or I'm sorry, in August. So yeah, definitely things are coming around. It feels good to see that happening again. We're able to practice again. We've all gotten vaccines, and we're just like moving forward with the charge and picking up where we left off.
Yeah, that we can't ask for anything better than that. I mean, that's just how that's just a great freaking thing. And I know you guys are booked for the fest later this year in Gainesville, Florida. What you guys have any other plans going on?
Nothing else is booked at this time. That's kind of has been our line in the sand a little bit to get us through these days. It's just kind of something to look forward to and something on the calendar. But now that things are starting to open up again, I'm sure, we'll look to do some things later in the summer or early fall, hopefully. we have not practiced in 15 months, so probably a little bit rusty. So I don't know that we're going to book anything as soon as things open up, but yeah, so looking forward to it.
We're starting to see like there's a skate park around here that does shows in the spring and summer. Couple of venues have converted their parking lots to outdoor spaces, and obviously indoor stuff is starting to open up too. So yeah, we're gonna knock the dust off and then get back to it probably in the summertime.
Yeah, I mean, I heard our governor Northam saying that, preemptively, talking about like June 15th removing the restrictions. So, fingers crossed. I just got my first vaccine last Wednesday. And I don't feel my superpowers coming on yet, but that would be, I wish I could be like this guy right here. There he is. But unfortunately that's just, not happening. But, when I was there, this nice Coast Guard nurse gave me my shot, and I said to her, I go, "Did you get the microchip in there good and well? Make sure I got chipped. I want to be like everybody else." She didn't find it very funny. But,
yeah, man.
I mean, I still find it weird that I went to an abandoned J.C. Penney in the Dulles Town Center to get my vaccine.
Oh, but you didn't go to there's the Six Flags in Maryland that it's taken there's got a line out the door too for shots there too.
Wait, they're doing at Six Flags America? They're doing COVID shots.
They converted Six Flags to a vaccination center in Maryland.
But I know it's still open to the public too for because I know it's open too, so that's kind of odd.
I wonder if we get a discount if you get vaxxed and then you get on a coaster.
Oh, are you here for the Wonder Woman ride or for the COVID vaccine? Which one? Let's talk about this. That's funny. I didn't know that. That's cool. Yeah, I got the that's where the Dulles Town Center is, the big Loudoun County one. But yeah, so it's kind of interesting. But yeah, it was definitely weird walking into an abandoned J.C. Penney, and floor 2 was stage 1 and floor 2 was those two. It's like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, that's where a lot of people from my work, that's where they got their shots. So yeah, definitely have heard tale.
Luckily, I was in and out, though. I don't know how I got lucky. I mean, I was literally in and out in 25 minutes. So I was lucky. I was happy with that. I didn't have to wait at all. The longest wait was that 15-minute wait that they have you do after the fact to make sure that you're not going to pass out or die. Which I didn't either of, obviously. So,
Welcome back.
I know, right? Again, I'm still disappointed that I didn't get any superpowers or a third limb. I could always use an extra limb. I mean, who couldn't?
Well, that's why you need a second shot.
Is that when it happens?
Yeah.
Is that when you got your really good beard? That was your superpower?
Yeah, it's like increased growth hormones, and I can see through walls now.
That has got to come in handy at the gym.
What's a gym?
Oh, that's good. So, all right. So you guys just released an LP not too long ago, and then turned around and pretty much came out with this EP this year. What was the idea behind doing just a after releasing your debut LP last year and then coming out with the EP this year, just covers? What was the idea behind that?
Sure. Well, we put out Watch It Burn in 2020, like right at the beginning of 2020. So it was January, and we didn't know that COVID would even be a thing at that point. So we had all these plans. We had done a short run. We did our record release show, and we did a short run around the record to Jersey, Pittsburgh, and where was the other city? Oh, New York? No, Baltimore. Yeah. So we did a short run around the record, and we were like ramping up to do more. And next thing you know, shows start getting canceled. Even things that we booked ourselves, bringing friends through Virginia, we had to cancel them just because it was like uncertain. So our whole year, which would have been great for taking the record around the East Coast, maybe doing a fly out to Chicago or something. Everything got canned. So here we were, like, sitting at home thinking, like, okay, like, how can we promote the record? So we made a couple music videos early on, asking our fans to, like, contribute and do a dance party for one of our tracks. And then we kind of ran out of things to do. And luckily, Rob, our label, the guy who runs our label, Wiretap Records, he reached out and said, hey, we're going to do a Black Lives Matter comp. Do you guys want to contribute a song? So we put our heads together and we were like, we all kind of have home recording equipment and varying levels of skill. Like, let's see if we can do something. So we didn't get together. We actually recorded it independently.
Oh, wow.
And that was like our first taste of, like, oh, we can kind of do this at home. And then we had our friend Pablo from Analog Approach Studios here in Virginia sort of take care of the mixing and mastering for us. So in the end, we put out Operation Ivy Officer cover, and that was on the comp. So that was our first step into doing covers during this. And I don't know, Brian, if you want to add, like, where that went from there.
Yeah, I mean, it was really just kind of learning the logistics of it. Like Steve said, we all had a little bit of, like, demoing capability at our houses. So we kind of had to up the game a little bit. I think we had to buy some interfaces and update some software and things like that. But yeah, it kind of, once we learned the logistics of it, we've been passing around demos of newly recorded songs, but found that to be kind of, like, slow going because it's a creative process and you're trying to bounce ideas off each other. So we kind of decided with covers, we already knew the songs. So it's easy to turn things around and still stay connected to each other because, we're four guys that are friends with each other. We're not just a band. So it was honestly something to do. Like, I know that sounds kind of like cliche, but it was a way for us to keep connected and have a common goal and things to work towards together.
Yeah, I've talked to a bunch of bands over the last year that have kind of done something similar. They released an LP or an EP of their original songs right before or right at the beginning of COVID, and then they're like, okay, so we got to keep the momentum going, but we don't want to release more new songs and not be able to play them, so let's do a covers EP. So that's, the mentality is there because it's, you guys aren't, like, reinventing the wheel with this, but it's smart because it kind of, puts more, more, spins for you guys and more streams for you guys out there, and, especially for bands that they know. It's like, okay, so I heard these guys before, they cover Brain Stew Jaded by, Green Day. Let me check it out. And it's, it's just straightforward, by the way, you guys did a really great job with that track.
Thanks.
And I like the fact that you guys did both Brain Stew and Jaded, not just, Brain Stew. I like that.
There's a lot of debate. Like, we got to do both.
You got to do both, and you got to do the lead in, and you got to do the whole thing because it just makes more sense. Because I mean, that's how we heard it on the radio forever.
Right.
For the longest time, if you didn't buy that record, you thought that was one song, Brain Stew Jaded.
I'll tell you what, the licensing agency counts it as two songs.
Yeah, that was actually another thing I wanted to, kind of talk about because that's one side of the business that you don't hear too much about. Is that when, a band does put out a cover, there is licensing that has to go on, or you have to completely reinvent the song and make it, completely different for them not to be able to, touch you. But you guys just went the straightforward route. You guys just went straight up and said, hey, we're just going to, I'm going to say for lack of a better word, kind of karaoke it. I hate using that phrase, but I mean, I hate using it, but that's the best analogy I can come up with, at 1:00 in the afternoon while I'm still drinking coffee because I'm still fucking tired as hell. So what is the process for that? Just so kind of people understand it.
Brian, you were deep in that. Yeah, go ahead.
For the licensing process, you mean? Or for the choosing to karaoke it?
No, licensing.
Oh, sure. So it was a lot of Google searches to kind of figure out what the actual right way to do it is. and then a lot of band discussions about whether we should do it the right way or not, or just kind of like roll the dice and put it up and see what happens. Because I think some bands are probably doing that as well. Ultimately, we decided since we were going to go and release this through Wiretap, like through a legit label, that we should probably CYA a little bit. So we went through something it's called Easy Song Licensing. It's just a website that we found, and you pay a straight licensing fee, and then you have to pay per download. And because of the world that we live in, there's a different fee for downloads than streams, than for video. So it's like all different, depending on how you're going to release versus physical media as well. Like you have to pay a different fee for each release. So luckily with the Spotify stuff, they've got some of that stuff built in, so it was not super complex. But for the Bandcamp kind of download releases, we did have to pay a license for each individual song, and then essentially buy a certain number of downloads for it. So it's pretty straightforward. It's just, it sucks to have to do it because it adds an expense to putting out a release. But at the end of the day, we're covering these bands that we love, and if it throws a couple extra bucks in their pocket for writing songs that kind of shaped us as young dudes, then like it's worth it.
Yeah, because one of the big things right now in the world of rock is that reimagination, sound of completely reimagining a song, and that kind of falls under fair use, where you probably wouldn't have had to pay that. What was that's the second part of the question. Why didn't you go fair use route and reimagine it versus just straight up, honoring the original track?
Yeah, we talked about like, Brian hit it on it earlier, like when we were passing original music back and forth, it was kind of slowing down the process. So actually sort of reimagining and rewriting a track could probably take us down that same road. And we weren't trying to make COVID more stressful. So we were like, let's just do something we enjoy. And one of the things that was really fun about sort of karaokeing these tracks was like, really actually listen. And so like, listening deeply to Operation Ivy, like hearing a bass note you never heard before, or going in and listening to Black Flag track, which is a lot more raw. A lot more raw of a track. Like we were able to actually listen really intently on what was going on and try to translate that. So we weren't using tabs or anything. We were actually using our ears to do it. And so it was pretty fun. And it actually, it allowed us to actually capture the songs and bring a little bit of clarity to it that people might not be hearing those things in the original tracks. Obviously the original tracks are like by far and wide way more influential than what we've done, but like it was nice to be able to like kind of bring forward some of those bass tones that were buried in Op Ivy, or like even listening really closely to the Bad Religion track to hear some of the background melodies that were going on in the chorus.
Yeah, and I really admire that, because to cover an Operation Ivy song, or Brains to Jaded, or any one of those songs that you guys did. I mean, it's a gutsy, ballsy move. Like I said, the karaoke thing is it's a loose term, because there's a lot more involved in that. So
we're not offended.
No,
we know what we did.
I know, but at the same time, it's like one of those things where like I don't want to insinuate that in any which way, shape, or form. Because I mean, anyone who's ever watched American Idol go, "Oh, you're just basically doing karaoke up there." That's not fair to the artist. I mean, they busted their ass doing that. So, like I said, but just for layman's terms for the average listener. But at the same time, I feel what you just described by not using tabs or fucking anything else like that is a lost art in music. Because I actually had this conversation yesterday, the day before, where we were talking about this exact, same thing, where like, that's how I learned how to play guitar back in the early 90s. I picked up, Pearl Jam 10 on tape and played that thing over and over again until it was broken. And I eventually just bought the CD, and I just sit there and played until I figured it out, or I put a tape in my VCR and recorded MTV music video for Even Flow and just watched all the guitar parts and go, oh, that's what that chord is. Oh, that's what that chord is. And eventually figured it out on my own. Nowadays, you got like all these different tools and free services and this and that and guitar teachers at every fucking corner stop mall, it seems like. And the whole idea of teaching yourself guitar or learning something from, just from your ear, I feel is a lost art. So I really admire that you guys went that far with it.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, like you're talking about the songs that you're trying to figure out when you're a kid. I remember Violent Femmes, Big Hands, like like that was like my first, like, I can move my fingers and make noises. So and then I took guitar lessons as a kid, but every guitar teacher I had was metalhead, because metal is like super technical, and people like that are good at music at guitar like probably go that route before they go blues or something like that. So like I was getting all this metal stuff and I was like, yeah, this isn't for me. So I actually went and learned by ear pretty much for like the majority of my guitar playing. So it did come natural during this process, because that's kind of how I break things down. I'm not jumping into tabs unless I'm like really lost.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
for me, it was kind of the opposite. Like the first one I ever tried to play was Even Flow. It was like, da-na-na-na-na-na-na. I was like, okay, I can't do that. And then, I kept trying and trying and trying. I kept just that first opening riff until I eventually got it. But then as like the 2000s hit, and new metal started, and I started realizing you can just do these one chord, shit like this, and just move your hands really fucking fast. I'm like, that's it. That's what I fucking want to do. Bands like Machine Head and Slipknot and, Mudvayne and all these other bands that, kind of came up with, that style of metal.
Yeah.
Just that quick, finger just all over the fucking, fretboard is just, that to me was more difficult, but it was easier at the same time, if that makes any sense.
It's like the drop D cheat code. Like,
oh my God. Drop D is the quintessential, or E, either one, that's the quintessential, tuning. So for any guitar novice out there, drop D is the way to go.
You'll be playing in no time.
You will be.
Bar that entire neck, you'll be fine.
Put in that wah pedal, turn up the fucking gain, and just fucking go nuts, and you'll figure it out real quick. But again, it goes back to, again, that whole just super appreciation for the arts. Because again, you can have somebody teach you what an A chord is, what a G chord is, and what an E chord is, and, learn it the classical way, and then have somebody write you a song and then say, here you go, just play it the way I wrote it and have fun with it. But no, but to take it that much further and write it yourself, or deep dive by listening to it, again, is a lost art.
Yeah, thanks, man. We had fun doing it for sure.
So, you've got the fest coming up. I can't remember when
October.
That is. It's October.
Halloween weekend, yeah.
I can never remember I should be able to remember that, but for some reason I couldn't. Which is in Gainesville, Florida, which is probably the worst part of Florida in the entire world.
Except on Fest weekend.
Except on Fest weekend. Because I'm, like I said before, I'm originally from Ohio, and I'm a huge Ohio State Buckeyes fan. And for the longest time, I hated the fucking Gators. I still do. So Gainesville, Florida, and the University of Florida is like the bane of my existence. The only thing that's worse than that is the University of Michigan, but we won't talk about that. But so it's like those two places, like I can't go to. I remember as a kid, when I was growing up in Florida, I was a big ROTC nerd in ROTC, and every year there was a competition at the University of Florida. And I used to make jokes the entire way up there. I hope my skin doesn't burn when I step on that fucking field, or oh my God, I'm Satan, walking on Satan's playground, or just stupid shit like that. I hate that place.
It's funny. You would be safe during Fest weekend because there's a huge football game that weekend, and the entire football scene clears out of Gainesville, and the punk rock kids invade.
Yeah, but I almost think that's one and the same now. Especially in places like Gainesville and Ocala, Florida, because, some of the bands that are coming out of there, like A Day to Remember and shit like that, they have just these amazing fucking followings. Like, Florida bands have these followings that just, you cannot, obviously there's, Massachusetts, and you guys, everyone has it, but for some reason, Florida bands like cling to it like, a Canadian watching something on American TV going, oh my God, another Canadian. That's how Floridians, like bands like Trivium, A Day to Remember, Seven Dust, and all these bands, just like they will follow them everywhere they go. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah, and Gainesville itself is just like a cool place for like punk rock music. I mean, you've got Hot Water Music that came out of there, Against Me, and like even Less Than Jake, who's been doing the ska thing for what now, 25 years or more.
Yep.
And ska's making a resurgence. We have a friend who runs a ska label called Bad Time Records, and like I feel like he's single-handedly bringing back ska for like, after being depressed for a year, everybody wants just horns like to cheer them up.
Yeah, and I've actually talked to quite a few ska bands on this show. And a few that I actually follow that I haven't talked to that are out of Florida as well, that it's just like, that is making a huge resurgence, and some that have been around for like 20 years, like the Supervillains, for example. They've always been around, but people know who they are. But if you don't know who they are, you don't know who they are. Or like, there's another band out of Florida called Beebs and Her Moneymakers. If you haven't heard of them,
I've heard of them.
Oh my God, check them out. Not only is the lead singer Beebs just absolutely gorgeous, but the music itself is hauntingly beautiful. It's just so good. Awesome. I talked to another ska band out of California, I think Southern California. So I mean, it's definitely making its way back. I mean, which I kind of appreciate, because where I work, we've been playing a lot of reggae music. But then, for some reason, Spotify says, oh, you like reggae? Oh, you must like ska, too. So then they kind of start throwing in some Less Than Jake, and they start throwing in some old Sublime, and it's like, oh, man, I forgot how good this shit was.
It's because you're depressed and you need the ska to lift you up.
No, it's like, whenever you hear, I don't practice, you just all of a sudden, it's like, oh yeah. Who doesn't love Santeria? I mean, that's a fucking great tune. However, one time Date Rape came on the radio. We had to quickly change the channel, but we won't talk about that. That was a kind of a panic in the restaurant.
Panic at the Dish Bowl? I don't know. I was trying to make a Panic at the Disco joke.
I even warned everybody that day, because I heard like 3 back-to-back Sublime songs, and I said to somebody else, I said, we need to listen out for Date Rape, because if that song comes on, that 80-year-old lady in the corner over there is going to have a heart attack. I'll be damned if 2 hours later, I'm like, uh-oh, dun, 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 dun. I'm like, oh, shit. Running over to the music player, skip.
Right.
But again, I miss ska. That was so huge in the 90s when we were growing up, and now all of a sudden it just kind of like went away, and now it's coming back, so thank God for that.
For sure.
So what's the plan now for you guys? You said you're gonna start practicing again, get ready for the fest, but what's the plan after that?
Yes, well, we've been where we left off during the pandemic, passing demos around. We've been writing music, but feel like now when we get back together to play, which Sunday will be like our second practice in 15 months, but like we're actually going to start working through the song structures, because that was where we were getting tripped up when we were doing everything virtually, because punching in on a track, sending it back out, asking someone to punch in the bass line, it was just like, this is taking forever. And in the studio, like in a practice space setting, we could do this in 2 minutes. Why are we doing this right now? So definitely getting back, picking up on all that writing, and probably going to write some new stuff too, just because being together will drive that. And then like, we've been just looking into studios around here, just trying to figure out what's going to be the best producer and engineer scenario for us to, sort of put something out that's, we're super proud of. And, it's a little bit different experience than our previous recording engagements, which have been mostly engineer driven. So just capturing what we have put together. A producer will sort of help craft the tone, craft some of the songwriting, and really get it to the next level. So we're looking into that as well.
That's gonna be really cool because again, that whole idea of now being able to tour your songs again, that you were trying to tour last year, on top of now writing new stuff again. It's like it's got to be a huge weight lifted off your shoulders because for the 15 months, now it's been like, when can we start doing this again? I've been saying the same thing. When can I get back on stage again? When can I start telling jokes again? Like I told you before, I did a little comedy set, COVID friendly down in Winchester, at a brewery, and it just didn't hit the same. But it's like it only made me want it even more. It's like that 15 laughs did not feel the same because it was in an open space and there was no echo. The acoustics sucked and it just wasn't the same. And now it's like, okay, now that I got this, and then I've been writing like fucking crazy. I've got like pages upon pages upon pages. Like, is this gonna work? Is this gonna work? I have no idea. Let me try it on the show and see if I get a cackle from one of my guests, or try it on my girlfriend and see if that works. Oh, she did not like that. Let me take that off right now. But again, that only goes so far. Getting out in front of that live crowd and getting that connection, whether it's music, opera, ballet or whatever, until you hit that stage and feel that connection with your audience, you just never know.
Yeah, it's reciprocal, right? Like, you're playing, they're giving back. Somebody, even if they don't know your song, but if they put up their beer or whatever, like these are all just like the little moments that are happening when you're performing. If you get a laugh, right, that's like huge. It's just like feels good. So yeah, we'll probably, I mean, it's funny is we're a slow writing band, like I would say, Brian, right? Like we don't crank them out, but this has really put us in a writing position. So it is strange that we would have put out a record, put out an EP, and then we're already working on the next thing, because typically we would rather be out playing shows and performing what we've got. And we write a little slower, but yeah, this has definitely put us in a position where we've got like a back catalog of things we need to work on now. So, but we'll probably be out playing at some point this year, just trying to figure out logistically when we'll be tight enough again to do it and where we'll go.
And obviously you're going to do that prior to the fest in October, right?
I think so.
I would hope so.
I don't know if we've had a deep enough conversation yet, but I think so.
Yeah, I mean that's the plan. There's nothing on the calendar, but Fest is 6 months away, so 5.5 maybe, I guess. But I think once we practice a handful of times, we'll be as good as we ever were anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, I imagine by the end of the summer we'll have something locally for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I would love to come out and see you guys play.
For sure.
Yeah, especially if you guys hit a brewery, because I'll be all over that shit.
Yeah, we've done a bunch. We've done Hardywood down in Richmond. Played a couple breweries up here too. What was the one out in Manassas? I don't know. We've done a couple breweries over the years.
Shit. 2 Silos?
No, I haven't done it yet.
Oh, okay. I thought that's the one you were talking about in Manassas. Okay.
No, there was
what's the other one
called? There's like that Heritage.
Heritage. Yes.
That was years ago, but we've played there. And
yeah.
There's is it DC Brow and DC Brian that does the metal shows?
Yep, DC Brow, and then over here down in Luckett's, you've got Vanish Brewery. Which is a huge brewery on the middle of a freaking farm and has a huge stage. They do lots of stuff too. So there's opportunity for, you guys to get back out there. Obviously, you guys know that. I don't need to tell you that. But, I'm just saying that for my own greedy nature. I want to go out and see you guys play.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to when we get back. I would call it our home stage. Like Pie Shop DC is like this 100 cap venue. It's like the perfect size for us. We get a lot of friends that come out, and it's just like they've been so good to us over the years. We also booked a music festival in DC, so like they've been really supportive of us there. and you know, they kind of believe in everything we do, and they're just so nice and genuine. That like I'm looking forward to getting back there and seeing Sandra and the folks that run the place. Give them a big hug.
Yeah.
If they'll let me. I don't know.
Well, again, I mean, CDC came out the other day and said, hey, if you're fully vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask indoors anymore. Or, you know, we got to follow state regulations, obviously, but
sure.
You know, that's a step in the right direction. So,
hell yeah.
Come on, Ralph Northam, please open shit back up. And come on, whatever her name is in DC, please open shit back up. I want to go hit the freaking clubs. But no, I mean, in all seriousness, you guys, I really dug the covers EP. It was really fucking good. You really did play a true tribute and play homage to the, you know, those influential songs of the, you know, the last 30, oh my god, 30 years now, 40 years
go
now.
Back 30, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you guys did a true justice to those songs. And you know, if Billy or anybody else heard those songs, they've been like, hey, good job. So
if you can get it to them, you know, that would be cool too. We actually we sent the Fugazi cover to Ian McKay, and he was like, you guys did an awesome job on merchandise. So that was like pretty cool to hear back from him.
That's cool shit.
And even Jesse from Ivy, I sent him the track, and he was like, good job, this is awesome. And we're the only band who's ever at least licensed Officer by Operation Ivy.
Oh,
There's
wow.
probably been other covers out there, but that was the one there where we actually had to have conversation with them on email about, okay, like, can we license it? And it was pretty easy after that, but yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, you did true justice to these songs, and it sounded really good. You know, just one of those things where, you know, I even think Henry Rollins would be like, good job. So, my hat's off to you guys. I hope, you know, I wish you guys nothing but the best. I'm so glad that, you know, to get to meet you guys finally. And I hope we get to do something in the future now that we're local to each other. You know, I'd love to be able to do something with you guys and, you know, go see you guys live or whatever the case might be. Do a face-to-face interview with the whole fucking band, however we want to do it. But you guys are awesome. You know, the last year's Adolescence was great. You know, and, you know, everything.
Watch Burn.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you. Adolescence was this one.
Yeah.
The other one was, I had them backwards. But yeah, that was awesome too. I mean, I've listened to it a lot. You know, it's good stuff, man. And you guys, all the links for you guys to download and listen to is all down below, in the description of the podcast and of the video. So please take a listen. You know, give these guys the love they deserve, because this shit was awesome. So, and I really do appreciate you guys coming on today and taking time out of your day to talk to me, because again, it's really, truly an honor and a privilege.
Oh, we had a good time, man.
You
Definitely,
too.
follow us on Instagram and Spotify and all that shit. You know, you said you got the links. We don't need to blurt them out, but
they're down there. Or if you're not watching, it's on the description.
Well, thanks for connecting with us, man. We really enjoyed talking with you.
Absolutely, and I can't wait to talk to you guys again soon.
Right on, Derek.
All right, and for everybody else, hey, no problem. Thank you guys. And for everybody else, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. We'll talk to you later. Stay happy, stay healthy, and as always, stay fucking heavy. We'll see you guys later. Peace.